Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ICS321, and today I'd like to go over assignments, start by going over assignments 2, 3, and 4, and show you what I've set up here to help you help you when you're doing your assignments to know if you're on the right track. And then in following videos, I will actually dive in and do some of the problems for you. So let me share my screen. And let's see, let me just, okay, we're back not sharing. Let me share this screen through. Okay. All right. So, so if you go to sql.ics321.com, you'll see that I've modified it a little bit. And so I have you enter your username and your password up at the top here, and and I do now record that. So because we have to go in and look at your assignments, and that way you can change your password, and we will be able to record that. So we are able to go in and grade your assignments. So so the first, for problem one, it's what you've seen already. You can click on here, and it'll look to see if you set up your Garden Glory database correctly. And in this particular example, you see I neglected to enter in the foreign keys, so that's why I got 3 points taken off here. If you go to this here is entering in your SQL statements, just like before. So this is what I've added. Scoring for the tables you're supposed to create for assignment 2, and assignment 2 was to do all of these normalization problems here. So for question 1, you had a supplier's parts table that was all merged together like this, and you're supposed to normalize this into the the supplier's parts and the SP, the quantity, the shipping table. For question 2, we have another database table here that has various that's in not even in second normal form because of partial dependencies, and you're supposed to normalize that. For question 3, we have this stake inside database that you've seen before, and you're supposed to normalize that. And for question 4, you're doing this textbook, instructor textbook database table, and for question 5, you're doing the campus cuisine. And so so if you normalize all these correctly, you go here. You can click on you enter in your username and password up at the top, and you're able to go through and see if you got basically what I got. And so this is what you should be striving for. I could have left a couple things out. If I did, then that means you don't have to do them, because this is what you're going to be graded against. And so that's for question 2 for assignment SQL assignment 2. For SQL assignment 3, you are supposed to create these triggers. And the first one is you're supposed to create the database here, and you're given the emerged campus cuisine database, a joined up one, which is a little bit different than the one for assignment 2. And you're supposed to create the database that's got that and split the tables up into these 3 tables. And then you're supposed to create a view to see it back again. And then you're supposed to write a trigger that keeps you from entering in a place at a campus, that's illegal. No, wait a minute. Yes, yes. A place on the campus it keeps you from entering in something that's illegal. And so, you know, if UHM already has, if Manoa already has a favorite Italian restaurant, which is this, then you cannot add another one. And you know, so on, it checks that. And so, and same with this second problem, the seasoned steak and side. The only meals that are allowed in a menu for the day are those that, when you take the natural join of these two tables, that the meal that you add has got to be in the natural join of these two tables. And so you do a natural join on them, and then you search to see if the meal that you want to enter is in that joined table. And if it is, then it's a valid meal. If it's not in there, then it's not a valid meal. And so so that's the trigger you're supposed to design and implement. And so for here, for example, I've set up these triggers. This is my assignment 3 for the campus database, and procedures, views. Oh, the triggers. Oh, so okay. So these are the triggers. Wait a second. The triggers are in the tables themselves. Okay, so the trigger. Let's see. This trigger is. It's in the campus places. Okay, so you cannot add a place in the campus places table that is not in the places cuisine table, basically. And this will become clearer later. But so if we look in the campus places table here, which is here, and then we look at it's a campus. It's campuses with the places. If we sort by campus, we see, you know, all these are all the favorite places for this campus. And I've been experimenting around here, and then these are all the favorite places for this campus, and these are the favorite places for this campus. For example, these are made up. This is made up. And then if you look at the triggers here, we can look at this trigger, and we see that it's the time is before and not after, and it's on an event. It's on an insert, and it's a very simple trigger. It's you know, first you see if this new place that you're adding, you check to see if it's in the place cuisines table, and so this counts up how many records in place cuisines where place is equal to new place, and there's either going to be none or 1. And so this is going to be 0 or 1, and if it's 0, that means it's not in there yet. And so it creates this message, and you know, displays it as an error. So that's what the trigger looks like. And so what we can do is we can test it by putting in some campus. I'll put in UHM. Doesn't matter, and I'll make up a place. Bale. In what's the name of that on campus? Bale. I'll just say Bale, and I submit it, and it says Bale is not in the places cuisine. We can execute it directly this way by going, oh, we can't. Okay, yeah, so we can try to insert into insert into campus places. Well, I'll just do campus place values UHM ballet. And when I try to execute this, it says ballet is not in the place cuisines table. And we can see that place cuisines table. We don't see ballet in here. So anyway, that's so that's how the trigger works, and that's how you would test the trigger. And so you can test the trigger. You can use this here to test your trigger to see if it works correctly. And then for the meal here, we can try to same thing. You can enter in a meal, and it will reject a meal that is incomplete, or no, this is meal check. Yeah, triggers. Yeah, incomplete or invalid. Let's see. So we're entering it into a date, 2019, 11/16. Let's say that's last. Let's say the main dish is beef steak, and let's say the side dish is I don't know, mashed potatoes, and let's say the wine is some kind of white wine, Pinot Grigio, which is a white, which doesn't go with beefsteak, Grigio. And what does it say? It says record not inserted. Beefsteak and mashed potatoes with Pinot Grigio is not a valid meal. Oh, and then it displays out. I have a display out the status or the contents of the menu so far. And so for the fourth assignment, we have where we actually create these stored procedures here, and I modified this quite a bit today, and I added some code here to make it easier because I finished these, and I'm going to make videos after this one on this. So here we actually create a stored procedure where we enter in a campus and a cuisine and a place, and it's gonna return an error code and a message. And one thing I changed is the names of these fields have to be different than the field names. Otherwise it gets messed up. And then I ask you to give you some error codes, and then I ask you to write a program to test it. And so I thought what I would do here, I would like to have it be easy enough for us to grade. And the purpose of this course is really the database part, the SQL part. It's nice to learn a little bit of programming code where you can use the web to test your code. So this code here is actually just hacked out of the code that's behind this here, behind these two tests. If I try to add UHM, oops, I try to add here UHM Italian. I don't know what's an Italian place. Well, I can. How about what's an Italian place? No, how about if I add this Himalayan kitchen? I try to add that. See what happens. Himalayan kitchen. Oops. What happens? It says Himalayan kitchen is currently in as a Nepalese place, not a Italian place. Error code is 2, and then I pass back these. So yours. So I basically gave you the code here to that executes similarly. You need to it accepts a query string of name value pairs, this, and so this code here, you also include your username and your password, or you replace this and you actually put your username in. I don't recommend you doing that, because then if you actually code in your username and your password, then you know, this program here will presumably be not behind, it won't be passworded or anything, so somebody else can just come in and enter these in there. Since we have your username and password, you can leave those as input parameters like this, and this makes a direct connection to your database, which it creates the name of it here based on what the username is you passed in. And this actually calls your stored procedure. If you want to take a look at the stored procedure, it's right here in the assignment 3 campus. We look at routines, and we have this add place stored procedure. And the way we set this up here is we set up the input parameters here. The varchars are the same. These are a couple of output parameters. We have this error code, and then this message that we add, and then the stored procedure here is relatively. Let's see, can I make this bigger? Can. Okay. So here is an exit handler, and this is a transaction, and what we're going to do is we're just going to start. This thing just starts to insert stuff in. It has to insert into the campus cuisine table, the campus place table, and the place cuisine table. And if ever there's a problem, it's going to cause an exception, and this exception handler will generate, will be executed, and it'll return. I pass back a message saying what the problem is, but then the transaction won't complete. See, this is a transaction here. It's from here all the way down to here, and if it doesn't make it all the way down to the end, then it rolls back, and any inserts that were performed along the way are reversed. And so first we, and I'll go through this. In a later video, but basically we set up the error messages and the error codes and the error messages, like here before we try to insert the campus cuisine in there, and then we try to insert it in. If there's a problem, it's going to cause an exception, and the last message written and the last error code written will be returned here. And if this passes, then it sets the message and the error code to something different, tries to insert into campus places, and if that works, then the last thing it does is it changes the error message to success, changes the error code to 0, and then it commits. And so so that's the stored procedure for the campus cuisine, and there's a similar one here for the for adding a meal. It's actually a little bit easier because this doesn't really need to be a transaction. So we just go down the line and we check to see if the main dish is in the main dish side dish database or table, if the side dish is in there also, if the wine is in in one of the tables, if it passes all of those, if it makes it through all of those, then it checks to see if the main dish works with the side dish, and checks if the main dish works with the wine. And if then that works, then the last thing it does is it checks to see if it's already been entered in, if that meal has already been entered in for that day. And if it hasn't, it goes ahead and enters it in. So anyway, and you can use this here to test that. So when you get yours going, you can use this form here by entering in your username and your password to get that to make sure it works. This last assignment here, if you've taken a look at it, it's basically the same as the first assignment, except for the database is a little bit more complicated. There's one more table, and there's another kind of table in there that you have to to set up correctly. But then there's a bunch of SQL statements that you're going to have to enter, and so that'll be added down here. So anyway, that's a preview of the remaining assignments, and next I'm gonna make a video on exactly how to get through assignment 2 quickly. So thanks for watching.